Hey, welcome to this week's episode, The Parable of the Malfunctioning Air Conditioner. A good title for July. This week, my wife and I have been dealing with several issues, among which were purchasing another car. It's not a new car, but a new to us car. It's a 2001 Alero. And when we bought this car, we went to the lot. We looked at all the stuff we liked, or looked at all the cars. That we didn't see any that we particularly liked that we test drove. But there was one car kind of sitting off to the side, and the salesman said, "Well, this car is still being worked on. It was something someone had traded in, but they still needed to fix a few things before they could put it out for sale. Needed to clean it up and detail it." And so we were like, okay, great. Let us try this car out, see if we liked it. We drove it. Yes, we love this car. Let's get these few things fixed. They needed to fix the motor on the to adjust the seat, and that's something we need because I got really long legs. My wife needs the seat up closer to the steering wheel, so we got to have that working. One of the windows didn't roll up and down, so we need that. And they also told us that the air conditioning was kind of like they had to juice it back up. They put some coolant in there because it wasn't working when they got it. So that might have a leak. And they said, is just drive it a couple of weeks. If the air goes out on it, then bring it back. We'll find the leak and we'll get it fixed. So we do that. We drive it a few days, and then we bring it back to them when they get the part for the seat. We leave it with them, and they give us a loaner. And so they give us the loaner they give us is another car that's been brought in, hasn't yet been had everything worked on it yet. I get that car, drive it around. Of course, it's like I'm driving it, running some errands, and I realized there's no air conditioning in this car, and it's July, and that's just not going to fly. So I bring it back and says, this car's got no air conditioning. So the salesman's like, okay, that's cool. We don't have anything else in the thing. We'll take that back, give you something else. But they basically had to give us one of the cars that they have out for sale. So I said, here's one. They had a Mercedes, I guess it hadn't been test driven in a while. So they take this, it needs to be driven, so you'd be doing me a favor, take this car out and drive it. So we did, and it was great. We loved it, and so that was good. So we put gas in it one day. We gassed that baby up, and we smelled gas when I got back in the car. It's like, well, maybe I spilled a little, maybe I stepped in gas, so that's what happened. So over time, after a bit, the gas smell subsided. It was like, okay, we're good now. Everything's fine. And a couple days later, my wife gassed it up again, and she noticed gas is just pouring out the bottom of the tank. And so basically, she drove us straight back to the dealership. Said, you got a problem. This car, basically when it has more than a half a tank of gas in it, it's just pouring out on the road. So that's not safe. So they were thankful to get that. They gave us another vehicle, and the third vehicle was fine. Our third loaner finally was the charm. So everything's good. We got the loaner until they finally get our car back to us. So today, my wife is driving the car. We got the car back for the first day. We go out. We go somewhere today. And we're like, this air conditioning doesn't feel very cool. So that's not good. And I said, well, maybe it's going to work. Maybe it's all good. I says, well, they told us that it might have a leak and we could bring it back. But we're really, after we turned in, we had to go through 3 loaners and brought them back a vehicle that had a serious gas leak. And it was like, these people aren't going to want to see us. And we're just like, and we're going to have to be without our car. We're going to be on a 4th loaner at this point when we have to bring them back. But I called the guy up. I tell him the situation. He says, that's fine. He says, my guy, it's Thursday. The guy can't my guy can't do it today or tomorrow, but can you bring it in Monday? Great, I'll bring it in Monday. And we're just like, we're very displeased with this whole situation. We're going to have to put up with no air conditioning until Monday, but we can deal with it. We just kind of just hate the fact that we're going to have to go back yet again. So when we're saying our prayers, we've had a couple of good things happen that we didn't expect. We were starting to give up hope on, and we got some good reports on both of these things. So we said our prayers and we're being thankful in our prayer time and thankful for these good things that look like they're happening now and turning around. So we're very happy about that. Praying about some other things that we want to happen. And I said, Lord, I want to pray that this guy, and I'm not a super spiritual person. I don't want to sound like I am, but I just said I want to pray that you're just going to supernaturally fix the air conditioning. We don't want to have to go back and get this done. I want to pray that the air conditioner is just going to be fixed. Did I really believe that? No, because I'm not Mr. Super Spiritual, and do I think it's going to happen? I prayed it anyway, and I'm just like, doubts are all there. It's like, that's not going to happen. But I said, I don't care. I'm praying it anyway, and I'm going to say I'm going to believe it, even if I don't. So then we decide we're going to get away from the house for a little bit, and just take a drive in the car. Sure enough, we get in the car. It's just blowing warm air. So we have to roll the windows down. Or at least the windows have been fixed, and so we can roll the windows down and let some air in. So we're just driving. We get halfway across town. I can't believe this. Says, I'm just going to punch this button. I'm going to punch this recirculating air button. And I punched it. As soon as I did, like the coldest air you have ever felt, like just blows in on us, an Arctic blast. And I'm like, I can't believe that happened. This can't be happening. This thing is like blowing super. We've got it turned all the way cold. We've got the fan turned all the way up, and it was doing nothing. That shouldn't happen. I said, look, just don't punch the other button. Don't turn it back to outside air, because maybe it's only working. So I'm not even believing anything. It's like, look, this just maybe it's a switch. So we drive down the highway a little bit. We pull over at a restaurant. We eat something. We come back out. We drive. We still got cold air. And then I look down and I see the recirculating is not on. It's blowing, doing the outside air, and yet it's still freezing cold. It's so cold that I don't like it that cold. So I'm like, once it's coming out cold, I'm like turning all the vents away from me. I don't want them blowing on me. It's like I like it cool, but I don't like it. My wife likes it really cool. Like most people, I'm the weirdo. She wants like a normal, she gets too cold. So she turns the fan down, and so it's like it's now suddenly gone from nothing to something. So is this a miracle? I can't tell you it is, but I'm going to tell you that basically those guys at the shop said when they got it didn't have enough Freon in it. It was just like, so they had to put it in, and they didn't know if it had a leak. Was it going to, and suddenly it was all gone. It was just blowing. It just slowly got less and less cool until suddenly it was not cool at all. It's just blowing warm air out. So, we were just turning it off at some point. So, did that fix the thing? I don't know. But all I know is now it's blowing, it's just the coldest air it's blown since we got it. So then later tonight, I'm go out as the sun goes down, it cools down. I go out to do a run, and I just feel God speaking to me. I don't hear an audible voice. I just it's like a thought that comes in that I don't think is from me, and it's like, look, I want you to ask me for what you need, and I'll answer you. But I want you to take some action too. And maybe some of you are super spiritual, and you can ask, and you'll just have faith, and so you'll just God will act on that faith. But like me, I'm doing the whole thing and I'm just not even believing. I'm praying, but I'm not believing. But I feel like when I took the action to push the button, I'm just going to push this button and see what happens. And it worked. And suddenly it's fixed. And that's not going to fix it. Because if I had to take it into a shop and say, hey, it's got a leak and all the Freon's gone, you're going to have to fix it. They're not going to say, okay, we're going to push the recirculating button and it's going to be fixed. That's not going to happen. That is not going to fix the problem. They're going to have to fix the leak, get rid of the leak, and then recharge the coolant. That's what they're going to have to do, not push a button that I pushed. So what I did basically did nothing. Now this kind of reminded me of the story of Naaman in the Old Testament. In 2 Kings 5, 9 through 14, Naaman, who was the commander of the army of Aram, he had leprosy, and he was not an Israelite. He was from one of the neighboring countries, and he had a servant girl who was an Israelite. She told Naaman's wife to have Naaman go to the prophet Elisha in Israel, and he could cure him of his leprosy. So he said, he goes to the king, and the king loves this guy. He's winning all of the battles for him. He's like, absolutely, go do it. I'll send a letter to the king of Israel. He goes, he finds Elisha, or finds where he is, and Elisha, send the guy to me. And so he goes, he takes all of the men with him, and he's brought a bunch of gifts. He's like ready to get this healing, and he believes it's going to happen. So this is where it picks up verse 9 of 2 Kings 5, and this New Living Version. So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and waited at the door of Elisha's house. But Elisha sent a messenger out to him with this message: go and wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan River. Then your skin will be restored, and you will be healed of your leprosy. But Naaman became angry and stalked away. I thought he would certainly come out and meet me, he said. I expected him to wave his hand over the leprosy and call on the name of the Lord his God and heal me. Aren't the rivers of Damascus, the Abana, and the Pharpar better than the rivers of Israel? Why shouldn't I wash in them and be healed? So Naaman turned away and went away in a rage. But the officers tried to reason with him and said, Sir, if the prophet had told you to do something very difficult, wouldn't you have done it? So you should certainly obey him when he says simply, go and wash and be cured. So Naaman went down to the Jordan River and dipped himself 7 times as the man of God had instructed him. And his skin became as healthy as the skin of a young child, and he was healed. So basically, I think that's what God's telling us. It's like, look, ask. He says to us, ask and you will receive. But do what I say. And what you're doing is you don't have to do something that makes sense. You just have to do something that shows you believe that I'm going to answer your prayer. Naaman was dipping 7 times in the Jordan River or any other river is not going to heal anyone of leprosy. But it did because he did what the man of God, what the prophet of God, Elisha, had told him to do. And I pushed this button because I just said, I'm going to try that, and I'm going to try this and see if pushing this button works. I could have just simply said, you know what, looks like my prayer, God answered the prayer, and he answered it no. Sometimes he answers no, and sometimes he does answer no. I could have said that, and that's it. And I would have had to taken the thing to the shop, and they would have fixed it, and they would have charged me because, but if it was a situation where I was going to have to pay, there you go. So I think our lesson is to believe God, ask God first, believe him, and then if you have any doubts, the doubts continue to creep in, just act whatever you find to do, whatever way you find to act in your situation, do that. And thanks a lot for listening this week, and we'll see you next week. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. You can keep up with my latest on Twitter or Medium.com. Look under my name, Greg Richter, or under my username, @Owen2. That's OWENTEW.